Hi, my name is Elaine. Welcome to my channel. This channel, the purpose is not only to share my creative ideas and home decor items, but also it's a challenge to myself because due to the pandemic and my line of work is IT and I work from home, I've become a little introverted. So the purpose was to challenge myself to get out there, put my in. Hold on, this is my Chihuahua scratching at me. She was scratching at my hip. This is Cheeky. This first video was another challenge to myself because I did not have any fall decor and my front porch would look empty. So I created 5 DIYs. Another challenge that I was having was, this pandemic, we're seeing shortages, we're seeing inflation. So $75 really doesn't go that far, when you're talking decor. So I really did, step up to this challenge and I came in under budget. So that really excites me. It was like $72 and our first project is our pumpkin flower pot using cement and the $1.24 pumpkin trick-or-treat buckets from Walmart. First, we'll start with cutting off the handles with a pair of DollarTree scissors or any scissors you have. Next, we will go ahead and make 2 full slits down the sides of the pumpkin. And I am using a combination of scissors and a large X-Acto knife, which I purchased at Ross. If you haven't checked out Ross's tool aisle, check it out. It was $3 and it's very durable. Make sure when you are cutting the side of the pumpkins that you're cutting from the top to where the bottom starts, and that's it. You leave the bottom intact. It keeps a more solid base for all that cement. Okay, so next we're going to use a non-stick spray. I use DollarTree butter spray to go ahead and spray the inside of the bucket to help from the cement from sticking to the bucket fully. And next we're going to go ahead and take the cement. I'm just reusing a bucket that I had with Quick Wreath. I will put it in the link below. And I'm using about 1/4 to 1/2 parts water. And I slowly add and mix as I go. What I want to do is make sure it's a thickness of like a chunky stew. Then I take DollarTree duct tape and I cover the outside slits that we had previously cut. It took about 10 layers up and down in total, about 10 pieces per side. I want to make sure it's really secure so no concrete slips out. And then I started pouring, and about 1 inch in, I am going to mention how you can put paper straws, just one. I did not use it because I'm not using it for a traditional planter. I'm using it, what you do is just stick one in there, standing straight up while the concrete is forming, and it'll create a drainage hole for real flowers. I kill flowers, so I'm using a faux flower. And then once the cement is up to the top of the eyes, that's where I want to add something to create that little notch or that little hole to put my fake plant. My fake plant's from IKEA. It does not come with the rope on. I used it for a previous project, but I can remove it once it's, fall season's done with. So it's nice. But I used a large Lysol wipes container to create a mold to create that little hole for the faux flower. And what we're going to do is spray that again with the non-stick spray. And then once we do that, we're going to just press it in about halfway into the bucket. You'll find that it does try to float up, so you need to put a little weight on it. So I just grabbed something heavy in my kitchen I don't know why sugar scrub was in my kitchen, but hey, it worked like a charm. So you want at least like a pound or two weight to hold that down. And then once I waited 2 days, it was fully formed. And I was able to remove the duct tape and cut away the plastic Lysol container and then remove the pumpkin shell. It was a struggle. And then I found it's pretty dusty and dirty, and you might want to sand some edges. I used a knife sharpener. That's what I had. DollarTree sanding blocks work wonderfully. I just didn't have any on hand. But I love how it turned out. Next, we're going to create this stacked pumpkin from items from the Dollar Tree. And the tin is from the Floral section. And I used a touch of about 2 inches of cement and a stick to give it some weight for outdoors. I used 2 of the bright orange pumpkins and one of the velvet ones. When you take the velvet off, it's a styrofoam insert, and we used the top from that. I did attempt to use spray paint and it ruined my pumpkins. So I had to start over with new pumpkins using acrylic. So please use acrylic. It takes a few coats. So I used terracotta from Michael's, the sky blue or robin's egg blue from Michael's as well, and also dark yellow with about 2 drops of brown to make it more of a mustard shade. Now, while those are drying, the next thing we're going to do is just add a little filler at the bottom using Dollar Tree Spanish moss and my Gorilla hot glue gun. I love Gorilla Glue hot glue gun. I will link it below. It's amazing. It holds up like no other. So we're just going to go ahead and glue that all around the rim. And then we're going to go ahead and take our bottom pumpkin, which is the terracotta, using a chopstick and poke a hole through both sides so we can pull it down the stick. And then we'll go ahead and take that Gorilla Glue and glue it to the moss just to give it a consecutive piece and a little more stability. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that process for all 3 pumpkins. So the blue one, we're going to go ahead and stab it with a chopstick, move it down the stick, and then glue the 2 pumpkins together and repeat for the mustard pumpkin as well. Then the top piece is from the velvet pumpkin. It's a little plastic piece. That part cut off on my video, but as you can see, it's in here. You just hot glue it on. Next, we're going to create a square door wreath using a placemat from Goodwill. I could not find the wreath form I was looking for at the Dollar Trees that I went to, and I saw this at Goodwill. And you can cut the sticks apart, so individual, there was a ton of them. And I used zip ties to hold them together, which you can get at the hardware section at the Dollar Tree. And for detail, and to cover up those zip ties, I am using wired jute rope. And in the way I wrap them around the corners, create an X formation to just add a little bit of rustic detail. So I'm just taking that wired jute rope and hot gluing it on in a diagonal direction so that when you wrap it around, it creates a cross. So in the middle of it, I'm going to flip it in the back to go around the other way. So it creates an X formation. I'll show you how I'm doing that. So really you want to pull really, really tight until that glue dries when you're wrapping that. So here we go. We're going to go with both sides. So I started, there we go with the side of the X. So those sticks can be really challenging of staying together in that L shape that I'm going for. So it takes a little bit of tugging and pulling and hot gluing there. But then we get to the end and we just hide the end in the back and tuck it in using some hot glue. So I do the top and bottom of the square shape are the bottom pieces, and then the sides are on top, kind of like a log pattern. And it does add some strength to it. So I repeat that process for all 4 sides, actually all 3. I didn't really need the rope over the spot where I'm going to glue some flowers, so that it really only needed to glue 3 sides. I used a zip tie to do the X formation for the 4th side that I'm going to have flowers. So zip ties from my friends here. If they are showing, cover it up either with a leaf, a flower, or some rope. That's my motto. When you make a mistake, just glue a flower on it. So here I am taking some leaf stems that I had a hard time finding. I found them at the 99-cent store, and they were $1.50. I know it's funny how it's a 99-cent store, but items are priced higher. But I could have paid more or got a good sale or a coupon at Michael's. And what I was looking for is that was my first layer of flower on this wreath was the leaves. And I really love how it is, but it's all one strand with little leaf stems poking out. So it's really difficult to cut it up to use singly or in portions. So you really have to use the whole strand. So what I was doing was just cutting it, leaving a portion of it off. It's too big. It's a really long, I would say 2 feet strand of leaves. So I can save them for another project. So I used some wire cutters that I picked up at a good deal at Ross. They work wonderfully. And I'm just hot gluing it down. I am also going to take the ends and zip tie them around because you're not going to see it once I put flowers on the corner. If this were a project that I wasn't going to have flowers, I'd have a real hard time concealing all the hot glue and zip ties. So keep that in mind when you're building a structure of a wreath, that you have to know how you're going to conceal the items that you're gluing down, or you're going to see the zip ties or glue or flower wire or whatever you're using to hold those down. So the next piece I'm going to use is, not to that yet. One tip: if you are gluing something down like as thin as a leaf strand, you're going to burn your fingers. And I did that a few times on this project. But a nice tip is to grab your scissors. They're right there. Use that to hold your item down until the glue is dried and it's set. So what I'm doing here is filling in, making sure the leaves are going the direction I want. And I have this other stick of these buffalo plaid pumpkins that I found at Hobby Lobby. And this is one big strand again with little pumpkins kind of taped over on it. So what I'm doing is just taking each one off, but it only gives you a stick of about 2 inches. So what you're going to have to do is tuck it in and glue it to your leaf or your wreath structure and conceal it. So that's what I did. I made sure the placement, and I was eyeballing it, of the placement of those pumpkins were in places behind a leaf. These big mums, I love them. They're from the 99-cent store again. I've seen them at Michael's. You can also pick them up there. 99, I don't think has them that big, but they do have some really nice mums. I couldn't find them at my DollarTree. I think I went too late in the season to try to find fall floral. So I'm hot gluing 3 big floral mums at the corner of the wreath. It's concealing all my zip ties. It's concealing a lot of the ends. And it's also beautiful when they're lumped together. It's like one big bush. So I really love how it turned out. It turned out very sturdy with those zip ties. And again, I messed up with the camera, but you can see parts of it. And I will show you in the next clip how it looks like on my door. I just love how it turned out. It's gorgeous. Next, we're going to paint a buffalo plaid wood tray that I found at Ross in the craft section for $2.99. I removed the sticker and used Color Shot Head in the Clouds matte white spray paint. It took about 4 coats to get it fully covered. So that takes a couple days, in between to let that dry. So, and came back and used paint or masking tape and my fingertip as my guide. And every piece of tape, use your fingertip width, and put another piece of tape. And in between those rows of tape, I painted black. Then when this dried, I came back and did it the opposite way. And the opposite way, I'm going to paint with a gray color. And I can see that the masking tape did bleed a little bit, so definitely use painter's tape. So we're going to go ahead and mix our gray paint. I didn't have gray, so I just used black paint and 2 drops of white and mixed it. Now, when you see the color has bled, you can definitely go in with a paintbrush. I didn't have a small one, so I use a Q-tip. So that's a good tip for when you're doing touch-ups. I can see somewhere I painted in the white areas that I shouldn't. I did find that I made a blooper. I was supposed to paint these gray lines only on the white squares, not black. So I had to go back in and paint black. Overall, I was able to fix it and it came out very whimsical. So I liked it, that it wasn't perfect. Next, we're going to create a fall floral arrangement using this tin from the 99-cent store. You could easily find something like this, I think, at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or even using DollarTree of flower pots or vases, or something you have around the house. For the greenery, I like to use Walmart. This bunch of lamb's ear was $2.97. I do like the greenery better at Walmart or a craft store versus 99 cents or DollarTree. They just seem to be better looking. I'm going to use some wire cutters and separate each of the branches. Next, I'm going to use, I have 2 strands left of the pumpkin, leaf bunches, and those are quite tall. They're about 2 feet long, and they're all attached using short stems, so you kind of have to keep it in one piece for this project. But I'll show you how I fill that out. What I do is I glue some of the smaller stemmed DollarTree flowers and the buffalo plaid pumpkins to the large stem of the leaves. And that's what I start doing. I just use my glue gun. I unattach all the flowers and pumpkins. The pumpkins are from Hobby Lobby. And I start detaching and gluing onto the leaf strands. So there's 2 of them in there, and my camera cut off. You can't see as I'm building, but here's the finished product. And in the next clip, I will show you how it looks like outside. So this is my front porch. And yes, I killed my mums. They were gorgeous. These sunflowers are from the 99-cent store. Here's our pumpkin. And the cool thing about it is it's now November. Turn it around. And it's still a pumpkin. It's just not a scary Halloween one. Here's our wreath. And it's held up nice. It's been out there for a couple of days with wind and trick-or-treaters, and it's looked really nice. And the sign is from Goodwill. And the little puppy welcome sign, she's identical to my Chihuahua. I got that at Hobby Lobby. Here's our tower. And over to the left of my front porch, you'll find I got pillows. I got them off Amazon. All 3 came to about $15. I love the Hello Pumpkin. And here's our whimsical tray and flower arrangement. There are some errors still with the tray, with my painting, but that's okay. It looks whimsical. If I do decide to change it, I'm still on the hunt for DollarTree Buffalo Plaid vinyl. The candle I actually made, and I will do a demo on another video. I love how it turned out, and I hope you gained some inspiration. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and have a great day.